And welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Today is Wednesday, the 10th of September, 2025, and it is a great day to be in Mississippi. Good stuff is happening all over the place. We're streaming on Rumble. We're streaming on X. We're streaming on YouTube. And we're streaming on the mothership, WYAB.com. If you can't hear us on the airwaves, tune into there. If you want to be part of the show today, the number is going to be 601 879 0002. If you want to be on the text, involved in the text line, that number is 601 879 5060. Texts were crazy over the week or over the last night. I got so much good data and some ideas for the show, and I'm just grateful for all of you texters. Shout out to the blue collar crew right now. You guys always are checking in. I appreciate that. Look, the mission of the Andrew Gosser Show, standard. We are here to equip the saints, and we shall. One who walks in integrity walks securely, but one who walks pervertedly, his ways will be found out. And I got to tell you, the more and more the liberal left open their traps and start walking around and showing us what they really are, the more and more they are rejected by the community, by their culture. Just don't want it. City in Detroit banned the LGBTQ flag from all city buildings, and they were sued, and they just won in court. Congrats to that town out in Michigan that did that. What I really want to talk about is Jackson, Mississippi. And specifically, this is my open message to Mayor Hohrn. You know, I talked about it yesterday and I didn't get to it. And I was like, I wonder why I didn't get to it. I had it all written out and ready to go. And then if you did not hear Clay's first hour today, after 1 o'clock today, go back and listen to the first hour. Fire. And after I heard that this morning, now I know why this segment is going to be right here where it is. Mayor Hohrn, you are the duly elected governor of Jackson, Mississippi, our state's capital. We love our capital, whether we're Democrat, Republican. We might not like some of the things about it, but we love our capital. And the residents of Jackson, Mississippi have entrusted you to move us forward over the next 3.5 years. It's 4-year term, but you got a little bit less than 4 years left. Mayor Hohrn, people are behind you. And as someone who was elected as somewhat of a reformer, as someone who had to go in and clean up a mess, we get you. We understand that you are going to have to do a lot of things that are going to cause some pain, that aren't going to be popular. But we know you love Jackson, Mississippi, and you want to make it a better place. And the regime you took over for did not have the residents of Jackson, the employees of Jackson, or the city of Jackson first and foremost. It was all about themselves. And Mr. Mayor, I don't want to sit here and belabor that point any more than just to say, we know you are dealing with a bad set of cards right now. But that's the hand you're dealt, so we're going to play it. Mr. Mayor, you were, and you still are, in a respect, a distinguished senator from the state of Mississippi. You have friends in the Senate. You have friends in the House. You have friends in the governor's mansion. Where one regime might have burned those bridges, Mayor John Hohrn, you can rebuild those bridges. The crime wave is intense. People will say it's down, and Mr. Mayor, I'm not necessarily arguing that some things haven't dropped. But we have serious problems inside Jackson. The Jackson Police Department reported 239 violent crimes this year so far. And I'm getting this from the state website. It's on my X feed. If you're not following me on X, you should. It's at Andrew Gasser, at AndrewGasser. You can see where I'm getting this data from, Mr. Mayor, because I don't want to lead you astray. This is just what the data says. Jackson Police Department has reported 239 violent crimes. The UMMC Police and Public Safety Force has reported 4 inside Jackson. If we go to property crime inside of Jackson, Mississippi, the Jackson Police Department has reported 974 property crimes so far. Jackson State has reported 5 property crimes. UMMC has reported 42 property crimes. And if we go to this last category that's being tracked this year to date, societal crime. And we can talk about what that means to different people, but I'm just giving you the numbers here, what we got. Jackson State has reported 5. Jackson Police Department's reported 158. And Mr. Mayor, that's a lot of crime. We know you can do better than what we had. We are not putting you down in any way. We are not slamming you. I'm not even criticizing you for anything, because you're walking into this and we could share some stories on things that we found on day one when we opened everything up. And we have so much common ground to work from. My point is this, Mr. Mayor. The Democrats run Jackson, Mississippi. The Republicans have the governor's house at the moment. And we have President Donald J. Trump as our commander-in-chief. The problems that you're facing, whether it be the water, the housing, the roads, all these other things, we can go ahead and alleviate some of that burden. We have to find a new police chief, and I know you're diligently going after that right now. But Mayor John Hohrn, you are the one Democrat in America. I think you're the only one who could call up their governor right now and say, Mr. Governor, we've got a problem in Jackson. We've got a problem in our state capital, and we need help. It's tough, Mr. Mayor. I get it. Many of us know what it's like to go against our party. And while it's not necessarily the same type of pressure that you would see inside the Republican Party that you do on the Democrat Party, it's still the same type of pressure. And Mr. Mayor, you could go ahead and you could completely flip the script on its head. You would be championed. And let's not kid ourselves, Mr. Mayor. You're still an active politician. I'm a recovering politician. We love being told we do a great job and we're doing great stuff. You would be a nationally known Democrat who's cleaning up the state capitol that has arguably some of the worst crime in all of the urban cities in America. We know that Chicago is the worst, but by capita, Jackson comes pretty close. And again, you're just coming into this. You're having to clean stuff up. You're making deals with the county sheriff to temporarily run the police force. Excellent job. The job you did with signing the community agreement with Hinds County to resurface some of the roads. I can tell you, Mayor Hohrn, that as a former highway commissioner, a retired highway commissioner, that is the way to go. Absolutely. And anybody who blasts that deal, come talk to me, but I would say that you're foolish. You have the chops, Mr. Mayor, to make this happen. You are the one person in Jackson who could turn this on its head overnight. With the help of the federal government, bringing in US Marshals, extra FBI agents, ICE officers, and other federal partners, along with the National Guard, there would be instantaneous change. That would be a true push of the political bubble without popping that bubble, Mr. Mayor. And I realize that I'm not from Mississippi, but I live here now, and I can tell you all about the craziness that's up in Chicago if you ever wanna hear about it. All I can tell you, all the stories you hear, they're true. And if you could actually go in and make this happen, you would be seen not as a Democrat, you would be seen as a leader who just happens to be a Democrat who serves all the people. You've seen the drugs that are coming out of your city, Mr. Mayor. Every big city has those problems. We need help. We're told all the time to seek treatment, to admit when we need help. Mr. Mayor, Jackson needs help. And there's people there who want to help, genuinely want to help. Imagine the good relationships you will build up between you and the governor. I know that you two have a relationship, and that's great, but imagine how much stronger it would be. Imagine how much stronger your relationship would be with the President of the United States of America. And Mr. Mayor, we know that this is a president, when he says he's gonna do something, he's gonna do it. It would be pretty cool for you to be able to communicate with that office directly one-on-one instead of having to go through XYZ. By bringing in the federal police forces, the federal law agencies, that would free up precious resources. We know that Jackson is struggling for money. That would free up precious resources for you to do more roads if that's what you decide to do, or work with the water problem that you have. My goodness, that is a mess. Again, Mayor Hohrn, that's your problem now, but it's not something that you did. It's been over 20 years, but you're gonna be the man to fix it. And if there's any way that we can use federal funds and federal workforce to come in and help clean up Jackson, we should. Now, it's easy for me to sit and talk to you here behind the microphone and say, "Hey, this is what we could do," but I wanted to publicly come out and say that this is something that you could do, Mr. Mayor, and I didn't wanna come over there and be one of these over the top right-wing conservatives, which I am, but I'm not coming over here to just mow everybody down. That's not how we accomplish things. Whether you live in a state that has a supermajority of Republicans or a state that has a supermajority of Democrats, you have to work together. If not, you get Illinois. I know right now there are several state representatives and several state senators who are listening to this segment right now, and they would work with you, Mayor Hohrn, to help make this happen, to help fix our city, our capital, beautiful Mississippi. I'm an optimist, Mr. Mayor. I genuinely believe we can fix Jackson. I know that there are people out there who think it'll never be fixed. And there might be some valid reasons to that, but there's a lot of valid reasons how it can be fixed and how we can go ahead and start turning this thing around in Jackson. How we can start bringing people back into the community. How we can bring in private investment into Jackson where the people can rebuild Jackson the way they see fit and not necessarily tied to specific government regulations and requirements using some of the federal programs that are out there. And look, Federalization and going to the federal government for help is not the answer for everything. But in this instance, Mr. Mayor, with the crime problems that we have in Jackson, with how you are working to try to fix so many problems at once, bringing in the federal law enforcement agencies to help clean up Jackson isn't a bad idea. And I'm not going to speak for Governor Reeves, never would. I'm not going to speak for President Trump, never would. But I will tell you, if you reached out and made those phone calls, I bet you we would be really shocked with how quick things get moving. And I just wanted to take the first segment of the first hour today on the Andrew Gosser Show to make that appeal to you, Mr. Mayor, and to let the governor know and the state reps and senators who do listen to the first hour of the show. It's pretty humbling, quite frankly, when you get message saying, "Hey, I heard your show yesterday. It was really awesome. I'm tuning in." Am I crazy, listening audience? Am I dreaming too big? Do I just have starry eyes? Or do you think that Mayor Hohrn could actually make this call and go out and do it and start to turn Jackson around? And if Mayor Hohrn did, would you, as conservative Republicans or liberal Democrats, get behind him and support him on this? I'd like to know. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. When we get back, we're going to start talking about a lot of other stories. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show. We'll be right back. And we are back on the Andrew Gosser Show here on 103.9 WYAB. You know, in the last segment, I was talking about the deal that Mayor John Hohrn did with the Hinds County Highway Department to start resurfacing roads in Jackson, Mississippi. We know that there are a lot of potholes and roads that need resurfacing. And if we can use the labor from the county and use the dollars that are appropriated by the city council to roads to get that work done, I think that's a great idea. That keeps the dollars inside of Hinds County. It spurs economic growth. And quite frankly, roads that I have a hard time driving my four-wheel drive truck down, let alone my Prius, will start to get fixed. And this is coming from the Clarion Ledger. Jackson Mayor John Hohrn and Hinds County District Supervisor Robert Graham, District 1, clasped hands for the camera on Tuesday, holding up the document they had just signed. It's kind of interesting that the county board district supervisor or the District 1 signed it and not the chairman, or maybe that is the chairman and I just don't know. But it's a great deal. I have a lot of experience with intergovernmental agreements like this. It's always the way to go, especially the more local you can keep it. And honestly, this is just a good sign of things that are starting to happen in Jackson. It's not going to happen overnight. We probably won't see things really noticeably for a bit, for a while, soon. But it's starting to go down that road, and I'm grateful for it. All those crime statistics that I put in the last segment, if you go to my X account, it's there. I tried to post the actual individual data pulls, but X said that that was a potentially dangerous website to be posted in. So I just put up the main link, and you'll have to figure out how to go to murders, social crime, property crime, but you can do it. I've got some of the smartest listeners in the world listening to this show. I know you can figure it out. Next spot I want to go to, I believe, is Senator Rand Paul calling out Fauci. It has been discovered that emails sent by Dr. Fauci were asking recipients to delete the emails. You can't do that. That's destruction of a government record. I am very familiar with this statute. You can't do it. And Rand Paul has put this out there, and I just bumped it. But I would just want to read to you what Dr. Fauci wrote, because and it's got the whole letter from Senator Paul, and it's very explicit. But here is Dr. Fauci writing to Mark Meadows back in the day. Or he's writing to Greg Folkers about Mark Meadows. Greg, : as usual, he is full of, we'll just call it BS, but you can figure it out. Mark Meadows curiously had some response and was upset when I said that New York got things right by finally getting the numbers down and successfully beginning to open up. I will paste a note I sent to Mark. And this is what's highlighted. This is what he sent to Mark Meadows. I'm sorry, Mark. I do not think you are missing anything, and I understand what you are saying, but I guess we are just looking at this from different perspectives. New York certainly has made mistakes. Yes, they have. But we learned a lot from the difficult experience they had, that they went through, and hopefully benefited cities and states that subsequently got hit. Also, please forgive me because I am not trying to be contrary, but let us look at the numbers. The New York metropolitan area and population of 20.3 million with 32,000 deaths. The death rate at that population level is 0.0016. Miami-Dade has a population of 2.7 million with 5,000 deaths. That death rate was 0.0018, and they are not out of it yet. And so population level in Florida may ultimately turn out not to be too different from New York. I do not want to gauge in any more of this nonsense. And so Please delete this email after you read it. Thanks, ASF, which is Anthony Fauci. I mean, that right there, what else did Anthony Fauci ask to have deleted? This government trust that has been completely exposed through the COVID fiasco cannot just be washed away and say, oh, that's behind us now. We can't look at that anymore. I'm looking forward to Anthony Fauci testifying before the U.S. Senate and Senator Paul. I would really like to hear what he has to say about why he's asking people to delete emails. Are there other emails out there with data that is contrary to what he believes? We were just talking about the CDC on Monday about how RFK Jr. completely took those liberal Democrats to the woodshed. And you even had Senator Bernie Sanders there. Hey, we all take the money. We all take the money. He takes money. He takes money. Are we corrupt? Yes. Yes, you are. Dr. Fauci, he's corrupt too. And the truth of the matter is that people who study and work with mRNA vaccines, they know a lot. But the ones that I've been able to talk to candidly, they're not even for sure what the long-term effects of it are. And yet we are pumping these vaccines into humanity. You know, in America, it's Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. China's doing it with their population. Russia's doing it with their population. Europe is just a complete lost cause. What happens when the people wake up and realize we've all been poisoned and permanently damaged for a significant time to come? People are going to have to be held to account. And Dr. Fauci, who led the CDC charge in a global pandemic, needs to be held accountable. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. We will be right back.
103.9 WYAB.
Fox News commentary.
GoFundMe removed all fundraisers in support of the career thug accused of murdering a Ukraine refugee in cold blood. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE. Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
The disgusting causes people could fund, this one takes the cake. GoFundMe removed every single fundraiser created in support of DeCarlos Brown Jr., the career thug accused of brutally stabbing 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska on a train in Charlotte. The fundraisers claimed Brown was somehow a victim of systemic racism and mental health neglect. Are you kidding me? Well, thankfully, the internet wasn't buying it and public outrage exploded. So in response, GoFundMe shut it all down, citing their policy against fundraising for anyone charged with violent crimes. They've confirmed all donors were refunded. The verified fundraiser for the actual victim's family is still live and growing fast, pulling in tens of thousands of dollars from people who actually care about justice. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
It's no secret the Honda and Acura vehicles are some of the best built and most popular vehicles in America. Both Clinton Body Shops are ProFirst certified to repair your Honda or Acura to the high standard of safety and appearance your car was designed to meet. Visit collision.honda.com and watch the videos that explain why it's so important to choose a body shop certified by North American Honda. in Clinton, or in Richland, choose Clinton Body Shop. We work for you. We take pride in perfection.
Hey guys, this is Casey Ellis with Ellis Autoplex, located on Highway 471 in Brandon. Ellis Autoplex, known as Little Truck City, is your old school mom and pop style dealership that's family owned and operated. We specialize in 4-wheel drive trucks, but don't worry, we have cars and SUVs too. Looking to sell your vehicle? Bring it by Ellis Autoplex, where we pay fair market value and we cut you a check on the spot. Need your vehicle service or repair? We can handle that too. Shop us online or set your appointment at ellisautoplex.com. That's ellisautoplex.com.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
Y'all come see us at Flora Animal Hospital, your trusted hometown vet. We offer a wide variety of veterinary services, including boarding. Dr. Kaylee McCary is a Madison County native who has been serving the Flora community and surrounding areas since 2013. She leads our team of highly trained and compassionate women. We are located at 740 Highway 49 in the Cotton Exchange Plaza. Call us today at 601-879-3222. At Flora Animal Hospital, we treat your pets like our own.
Ladies, tired of running on empty, sleepless nights, mood swings, stubborn weight, skin that has lost its glow? It is not just getting older. It is your body begging for help. Hey, y'all, I'm Morgan at Women's Wellness in Mississippi. At Women's Wellness in Mississippi, we bring it all together. Hormone therapy, medical weight loss, and the latest, greatest aesthetic treatments like facials, lasers, Botox, and so much more. This is where wellness and beauty meet so that you can feel amazing inside and out. At Women's Wellness in Mississippi, the best version of you is waiting right around the corner.
Oh, yeah. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. Text line is split. The text line is split. 9 messages so far. 4 supporting my idea and 5 saying Jackson is just a lost cause. And you know what? I get the 5 who say it's a lost cause, but I can't. I'm not a quitter. You might have to get some other way to get rid of me, but I'm not going to quit. And I think this is a way to do it. AP. Scientists warn that greenhouse gas accumulation is accelerating and more extreme weather will come. The report predicts that society will have emitted enough carbon dioxide by early 2028 that crossing an important long-term temperature boundary will be more than likely than not. So they've moved the date again from 2026 to 2028, people. They keep on moving the date, and the truth of the matter is Earth's going to get hot, Earth's going to get cold. We're going to have climate change. It's called summer, fall, winter, and spring. I do have the 1982 clip, but I think if I play it once a quarter, that's about enough. So we're going to continue to move on. All sorts of craziness going off. Did you hear about the economic news? Inflation actually dropped. Now they're thinking that they might cut interest rates not by 25 basis points or 0.25 of 1%, but 50 basis points or half of 1%. That's great news. The left is not reporting on this. I use Ground News to try to see who's reporting what and get the feel for everything. And the political left don't want nothing to do with this. And it's sad because you can see how journalists are trying to shape America into something that it is not. And this ain't a black thing or a white thing, Asian thing, Indian thing, whatever you want to call it. It's a freedom thing. And it just seems to me that even when there's good economic news, it's twisted. Whenever there's any good news in America, it's twisted. It drives me nuts. We're gonna take this call, see what happens. Maybe not. As soon as I hit it, they hung up. Maybe a little stage fright, who knows? But next week, the Fed is gonna meet, and that's when they're gonna most likely drop the interest rates. And when you see that, you're gonna see the engine tick up. You're gonna see the stock market kick up. You're gonna see everything is just gonna take off. And some people are now openly starting to admit that President Trump's tariff plan is actually working. We need that to happen. I'm excited about our economy. I think it's going to grow even quicker. This might be like early 90s recovery, if you remember back then when everything was just rocking and rolling. It was a good deal. I'm excited about that. This is like some of the highlights from left-leaning news sources. U.S. producer prices unexpectedly drop. First decline since April. They were predicting a 0.3% increase in prices, and they got a 0.1 reduction. That's like gasoline on a fire right there. Not always the greatest. Brother Junk writes in, he goes, "Wake me up when Fauci is arrested." Yeah, I'm not sure that'll ever happen, but it should. He should be held to account, but he won't. We talked about Rand Paul. We were talking about Jackson and the crime and the water and the roads. This is coming from the Magnolia Tribune. Water customers voice concern to lawmakers at Senate Energy hearing. And what they're finding out is, and where I have my water from, it's South Central Hines Water Company. They do a great job. You know, I feel that it's reasonable. But what we're finding out is there are water co-ops all over Mississippi that aren't doing so hot. So it's not just Hines County. It's not just Jackson. This is from Magnolia Tribune. Daniel Tyson again. He writes pretty consistently. He actually does some good stuff. Mississippi Capital City is not the only local governing body with water issues. The Senate Energy Committee heard pleas from rural water customers and the Public Service Commission to increase regulations on the state's water utilities at a hearing Tuesday at the Capitol. However, an industry trade group said more regulation is not needed. I would agree that more regulation is not needed, but these commissions, these water districts need to actually do their job. And we know that in some places they haven't had the best leadership and they're not doing their job. And of course, they always get the one quote, "Low rates are more dangerous than high rates," said the Public Service Commissioner Stamps, I believe it was. Yeah, it was Stamps. "You cannot keep kicking the can down the road." He continued by saying that low rates often mean maintenance and equipment are put on hold due to smaller budgets. One audience member gave Stamps a damned right for his assessment. I will say that. When I was running the highway department, we had the most expensive highway department out there, and there's nothing that I couldn't turn around and buy if I needed it. I mean, it was it was just ridiculous how much money we had. But we kept up with maintenance on our roads. We kept up with our equipment. And what's it going to cost to get these districts back up to snuff? It might be easier in some rural areas to actually get the water back up to snuff. They might be able to afford it. But there's a lot of places that won't. You know, you could increase Jackson's water bill by $100 per customer, and it still wouldn't be able to fix everything that you need to fix if you collected on that for 2 years. Now, Jackson can't go ahead and start charging an extra $100 to every person as a water upgrade fee, a flat fee. I've heard one of the guys that works there, he said it'd need almost $1 billion to really fix Jackson the way it needs to be fixed, and we're not pulling that money out of Jackson, let alone Hinds County. I mean, you think the state can't even go in there and write that check. And that's why I have a lot of grace, time, and patience for the new mayor. People say, "Andy, you're turning left." Yep. It's when you're talking about stuff like this, you can't win for losing, and it's okay. And the last thing before we hit the break, Jackson's Housing Task Force met yesterday to talk about the water issue and affordable housing. And who doesn't like a good task force? I know when I was part of a task force in the military, it was great because you knew you were going to be funded and you were going to be able to go do what you needed to do. You didn't have a lot of red tape or a lot of JAGs looking over your shoulder. You just got it done. This kind of task force, though, I don't think it's going to have the same results. They're definitely listening. They're definitely hearing. But I'm not too sure what another task force in Jackson will do. I hope they can fix it. Apparently, there are still apartment complexes, one being the Blossom Apartments, completely cut off of water. This is 2025, and we have places in our state's capital that can't get water. What the heck? That's a sign of mismanagement. That is a sign of incompetency. And we really need to look back over the last 20 years and see who was in charge of not only running the water department, but making the administrative decisions over the water department. This isn't that's not even a Hinds County thing or a state of Mississippi thing. That's a Jackson thing. Everybody who lives in Jackson is responsible for the water situation that they're in now. And I don't think people are just willy-nilly gonna dole out $1 billion to get you back on your feet. We'll see what happens. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Oh, yeah. It is the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Last night, the Sweet Bee and I, we were doing some show prep. Sweet Bee, get better. Sweet Bee's not feeling well, everybody. She's got the crud. But we were watching YouTube and just checking out different things. And there was a hearing in the U.S. House of Representatives yesterday. And they have video of a drone attack against a UFO/UAP. And they actually played it. And at first I was like, this is clickbait. Let's not do it. But we ended up clicking it. And ladies and gentlemen, it's out there all over X. It's out there. I'm just going to tell you, when you get time today, go watch that. As someone who has watched the effects of what a Hellfire missile can do firsthand, I could tell you I ain't never seen nothing like that before. And the missile goes and it impacts the orb, and it literally just splits in half and falls away. No explosion, no nothing. The orb just continues along, going like it's going. Now, the big complaint about this is that there should be better video of it. But what I would say is that it looks like it was fired from a Reaper and it was being covered by another Reaper. The video came from another Reaper. But the video is the video on those things. People think you're going to get like a 4K high definition video on that or 8K high definition. You're not. But I saw that and I was just like, my goodness gracious. And then I sit here and I look at this and it says, scientists say NASA's Perseverance rover finds potential signs of life on ancient Mars. Strange things are afoot in the United States of America. This is coming out of JPL. It's being covered by Reuters, U.S. News. And in all of this that they're saying, they're saying, well, we found a lot of stuff, but it's still too early to tell. We'll need to have more investigation. We do. And I'm a strong supporter of our space program, but when I saw those two things, I was like, I've got to absolutely talk about those things. And we will. In the next hour, it's going to be crazy. I'm going to have an AI update for you that you are not going to want to miss because it is proving out to be everything we said it would be. It's going to start competing in the workplace in ways that you cannot see. And I've got the receipts to prove it. And we will. We're also going to talk about Governor DeSantis. We're going to talk about the Detroit area city that continues to make news. And then we got to talk about the kings and queens wearing the black robes. Because depending on where you look, you might think that the administration's having a bad day when they're actually having a good day. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be back in about 8 minutes. Yes, yes, you are. It is hour number 2 of the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. It is Wednesday, the 10th of September, 2025. And yes, we are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube. And we are streaming at WYAB.com, the mothership. If you can't get the radio signal, you can always find us online. And we really like streaming and getting the word out there. Look, if you want to be on the radio show today, it's simple. It's 601-879-0002. The text line is 601-879-5060. And of course, the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We're here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? You all are. One who walks in integrity walks securely, but one who perverts his ways will be found out. Yep, that is Dr. Fauci 100%. And we all know it. When I started covering AI, even long before I had the radio show, I was always thinking, what's going to be the inflection point where everything flips on its head and everything changes? And I think we might be at that spot. Because right now, robots still can't do a lot of the manual labor that we can do, whether that be pave streets, a lot of blue collar, tough work. But the white collar stuff, the accounting, things like that, AI has got us beat already. I could literally go into Grok right now and say, Grok, I need 3 conservative things to talk about on the radio. And within 15 seconds, and boop, there it is. And I have a whole show done, ready to go. Listen to this. This is coming from the Hollywood Reporter from September 9th, 2025 by Caitlin Houston. 5,000 podcasts, 3,000 episodes a week, $1 cost per episode. Behind an AI startup's plan. And this is insane. Formerly Wondery executive Jeannie Wright is leading a new firm, Inception Point AI, that is betting on flooding the zone with audio content. I think that people who are still referring to all AI-generated content as AI slop are probably lazy Luddites. I've been telling you this. YouTube sneaks it in their algorithm. All of this AI generated content. And a lot of them are cooking shows. The Sweet Bee and I, we love watching cooking shows. We'll watch certain cooking shows, but every once in a while we'll just watch where it's from Germany or Poland, and it's this lady and she's cooking whatever she's cooking, or sometimes it's a guy too. And it just shows their hands doing whatever they're doing. It's got the music and it's got the scrolling and it doesn't have a voice. But we found out that it was AI and we were absolutely shocked. Absolutely shocked. Inception Point AI is attempting to do all of this as the company builds a stable talent of AI to host podcasts and eventually become broader influencers across social media, literature, and more. Think about this. And they've got pictures of these AI models that are not generated. There's 3 of them. You've got Claire Delish, Ollie Bennett, and Nigel Thistledown. Ollie Delish is some kind of food influencer. And then Nigel Thistledown is a gardener. And I don't know what the other guy is. It doesn't say. But it's stunning. They look like real humans. I mean, you sit there and you think it was a professionally taken photo of a headshot of a human being. But they don't exist. We believe that in the near future, half the people on the planet will be AI. Half the people on the planet will be AI. That means they're not real people. They're artificial. Do you see what's happening to our culture? They are already starting to line it up. This just absolutely blows me away. And this isn't the only company that's out there like this. There are hundreds of them. So if you go to YouTube at Claire Delish, she has 55 subscribers and 18 videos. And she's got recipes for carrot cake, apple crumble, banana bread, white chocolate matcha cookies, French hazelnut praline. It's an easy recipe. And you sit there, you can see their hands doing all the work and doing everything. You would think it was a real person. I also think that people can still easily detect this stuff once they know what they're looking for on YouTube. But it's just one of those things where they're already thinking that AI is going to be able to have half the population on Earth. They're going to be AI agents and not humans. Are AI agents going to be able to vote? What are we going to allow to do? It's almost like it's like standing up to a bully. When are we going to stand up to this crazy march that we're on? But it gets so much worse than this. I want to get back to this Hollywood Reporter story. Inception Point AI already has more than 5,000 shows across its Quiet Please podcast network and produces more than 3,000 episodes a week. Collectively, the network has seen 10 million downloads since September 2023, and it takes about an hour to create an episode, from coming up with the idea to getting it out into the world. So, never mind all the time it takes me to show prep to get ready to do a show, or Clay, or Kim, or Sean and Lindsay, Chip. You're going to have AI sitting there cranking out stuff. You know, it's not going to be too long before they have my voice and they can mimic my voice. They can mimic anybody's voice. They could even do a AI impersonation of my face, my figure, and not make it exactly like it, but close enough to where I'd be like, wow, that's my doppelganger. Write and AI hope to produce 1,000 more personalities within the next few weeks to see what personalities actually stick. So if I don't do a good job of preparing the show, if I don't come out and do everything I need to do, I get fired. They produce a personality for $1. And then if it doesn't stick, just throw it away. We'll do a new one. It's going to go quicker and quicker and quicker. But you say, Andy, that's just food cooking videos, gardening videos, and everything. Listen to this. Young America faces an economic crisis. This is coming from Axios. Younger adults are facing the worst labor market shock in years, one far more acute than the rest of the population. There's no denying that the misery for young people who can't find work. It might stunt their career growth for decades to come. And what's happening? AI is taking over all their jobs. If you think about what Gen Z and these Gen Alpha people want to do, all they want to be is influencers. They don't have the work ethic to go out and farm. They just don't. That's not true. Some do. Very few do. But if you think about a lot of us when we were growing up, if our moms and dads didn't make us work, if our aunties didn't lay down the law, or our uncles, our work ethic would have been hot garbage too. And now what they're finding out is that there's actually lots of hard work to actually get something done. And you talk to some of these influencers on TikTok and YouTube and everything, and they talk about it, how they grind in front of a computer for 12 hours to produce a 7-minute video. They put in the nice graphics. They go ahead and they put the nice lighting and the screenshots and everything. Now you can go out and buy AI software where you just upload you talking, and it'll put in the graphics, the voice to text, so you can have the text of everything that you're saying. You can put it in the neat font and caps and letters, and it makes the thumbnail. Like the graphic producers who spent thousands and thousands of dollars learning how to do Photoshop. Dude, I just replaced you for $20 a month with a piece of software that will give me as many thumbnails as I want. It will listen to what I say, and then it'll, knowing my tastes and preferences, create the thumbnail exactly as I want it. These kids are going to have tough. I mean, think about it. You can't even get a job at McDonald's sitting there taking a order at the register. You got the kiosk. The AI revolution is going to be here so quick. It's funny because I sit there and I look at some of these papers that are written academically, and then I talk to the people, and I'm like, there's no way that you read this or you wrote this. You can barely read it. And the way you carry yourself and the way you speak, you don't even know what half of these words are that are in there. I can remember growing up, and I got so mad at my nana and so mad at my mother because they would sit there and they would just drill vocabulary into me. But I see what they were doing now because I know so many more words than a lot of people. Sorry, Troy. Love you, man. I'll hear that on Sunday. Troy got a good vocabulary, but every once in a while he just makes up his own word on the pulpit. We just go with it. But getting back to my point, these young kids are going to lose so many job opportunities. I mean, not everybody can be CEO. Not everybody can be a talk show host. Not everybody can be a podcaster. But the field to get into work is getting smaller and smaller as AI gets stronger and stronger. And once the robotics catch up to the AI, I mean, is humanity cooked? I don't know. But that's going to be really tough when you can produce a robot with AI to work assembling cars and you don't need to hire Joe anymore. The robot doesn't require an hourly wage or healthcare insurance or a retirement plan. It might be a more expensive investment in the beginning to get the AI robot on the car line. But think about it. Once they make that investment, that robot's there. You don't need a human anymore. You can even buy an AI and another robot to program the other robot and AI, so that way you don't even need a human on the top end there. I read this and I was just like, "Oh, man." And to think that right now they can turn out 5,000 podcasts a week at $1 each, and then they monetize it on YouTube. What is the return on investment for that AI company? And then you think about your favorite creators on Rumble, on YouTube, on X, and how they're systematically losing market share to AI. It's frightening. It's just absolutely scary where this could go. You know, we used to laugh at movies like The Terminator and stuff like that, the old game War Games, or the old movie War Games, but we're almost getting there. We're pretty close. When we get back, we got to talk about Poland. We got to talk about France. We got to talk about all the international craziness that's going on. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. And we are back on the Andrew Gosser Show, 103.9 WYAB. Yesterday I said we were probably in World War III. We just didn't know it yet. And if you go look at the news today, you will see that the country of Poland has shot down Russian drones that were flying, apparently, allegedly, in Polish airspace. And everybody's getting upset at Poland for this. And who we should really be upset with is Russia. Poland has done nothing wrong. If they shot down Russian drones over Polish airspace, and those Russian drones didn't have the authority to be there, they didn't have the permission, well then, okay. Is this, people will say, is this pre-planned? Is this fabricated? Is this some type of event to try to start a war, a world war? I don't know. But I will tell you this, and all the data that I've seen from this clearly shows that the UAVs that Russia had, or the not the UAVs, the drones, they were over Polish airspace. And I see all my anti-war friends getting fired up. And we all see what's happening. It's almost like there are people above even President Trump and Putin and Zelensky. It's like they're just dragging us into this. I have a hard time thinking that people want a war. I know I do not. But I'm looking at this and I'm just like, my goodness. And then have you looked at what's happening in France? The French government is literally collapsing, and protests on the streets, and it's about illegal immigration. You are having these protests, just not in France, but you're having it in Germany, in England. They're not here in America yet. But it's not unfathomable to think that it could happen. This president has said that we're going to go after illegal aliens. And make no mistake about it, if you cross over that border into this country without the proper documentation and permission, you're illegal. You are illegally here. You are trespassing. And you can be deported. And by the way, if you are here illegally, you do not have the same constitutional protections that someone who is a legal U.S. citizen has. That's just how it is. If you illegally go into any other country in the world, you're most likely not even going to get deported. You're just going to be thrown into a jail somewhere. They're going to throw away the key, and you'll never be heard from again. You will truly be, quote unquote, disappeared. And that was one of the things that was blowing up my phone yesterday. MSNBC/MS Now/BS Always had Tom Hohn on in the morning, and Mika Brzezinski. That lady is a piece of work. She is genuinely giving people who are not citizens of the United States more rights, more deference, and more respect than the people who are here. They are fomenting and generating hatred against the government. And if you go right now onto X and search Rochester, New York, you will see where a group of an angry mob has just surrounded ICE vehicles, slashed the tires, and are going after ICE agents. Just came up in my feed. I clicked on it, saw the pictures, read the article. It's absolutely insane. It's like the whole world is angry. And it's important that we talk about this and we figure out why this is all happening. You see what's happening in places like Chicago, where you don't have law and order, and places like Washington, D.C., where you do. It's why I think it would be a great idea for Mayor Hohrn to reach out to Governor Reeves and the president and say, what can we do for Jackson? And oh, by the way, there's this group in Jackson called One Voice Jackson who goes around signing people up for driver's license who don't belong in this country. And we've got the receipts for that. We'd be happy to turn them over. The sooner we start worrying, and this is, I guess, the point that I'm driving at. We can get fired up over Poland and the Ukraine and Russia and France and England, but we got to clean up our own house first. We really do. And that means having a lot of uncomfortable conversations. You know, if you did not listen to the first hour of the Clay Edwards show today at 1:00, after I'm off the air and after Sean and Lindsay are off the air, you've got to listen to that. Clay is just doing incredible work. Incredible work. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, Mr. Gosser. We do need to clean up our own house before we try to clean up everybody else's.
Yep.
But Donald Trump run on the fact that he would be through with Ukraine.
Yep.
And every time he, coughs or something, Trump goes running. And I know that he don't want, nobody does want to get into all that.
Mm-hmm.
But now, either way, we're in there.
We are.
We have no choice. And he also said, or I heard it on the news, that there were, I believe it was 10,000 soldiers in Poland, U.S. soldiers in Poland. And so I didn't know that.
Oh, we've always had a presence there with NATO, and we would deploy there, we operate there, blast out of there. It's not that they're stationed there all the time, but you're absolutely right. And how does that?
I mean, I'm not. Donald Trump has done a great job on everything, but he wouldn't stay out of that. But like I said, I can see why. I mean, a lot of innocent people getting drug into whatever mess is going on.
You want to know?
And there is some mess going on all around the world. I mean, whatever it is, it's
we can't be Team America World Police. We have to take care of our own borders and our own cultures. That doesn't mean that we can't support our allies, and we should.
Well, that's what I was thinking. And also, when they tried to work out a little agreement, one of the many times,
mm-hmm.
it was Europe, and they were going to kind of take control of it,
mm-hmm.
and we were going to assist if they needed it. But I don't think they took control of anything. Because they always call President Trump.
Yep, they blame Trump. And if you think about it, this is the crazy thing. And I'd like your opinion on this. What are the two nations in Europe with no immigration problems right now? Can you name them?
Is there two?
Two nations that have absolutely no problems with immigration right now, illegal immigration. They've basically effectively closed their borders. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. If you don't know, I'll tell you. But do you?
I don't. Who is it?
Poland and Hungary.
Oh.
They are both have declared themselves Christian nations. They have closed their borders. They do not allow anybody to immigrate into Poland or Hungary unless they agree with what Poland and Hungary agree with. So they are not making any concessions for hib jobs. They're not making any concessions for spiritual beliefs. They're just like, you're not compatible. You're not getting in. And we have to look at that. That's kind of like a blueprint going forward.
That's right.
So
that's right.
even though Trump is getting, even though Trump is getting
I,
sucked
I
into
hope.
all of this, do you still support President Trump?
Oh, sure, I do.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I do. I definitely do. And he's done amazing things. You know, I mean, he's great. And like I said, I can understand why he would help Ukraine a little bit. You know, with them in the situation they're in.
Yeah.
But then he ends up getting our men and women involved in it. And I hate that.
Yep.
But that's, I guess, part of what they, you know, were hired for. You know, that's part of their job.
Well, I think it comes down, and I really appreciate the call. We're going to hit a break right here, but
Okay.
thank you. But what I wanted to say real quick, and please call back again at another time. What I say is this: is that, you know, we can back off from all of this, and if Europe wants to fight that war with Russia, let them. If they want to buy all the ammunition and weapons from America and go over there and mess up their section of the world, fine. But I don't want America in Russia. I don't want America in Ukraine. I don't want to be involved in any of that mess. But then there's the side of me that says, if we don't take care of it over there, it's going to come here. And there is something true to be said to that, because if you look at the immigration that's coming here, that's how they're fighting the United States. That's how they're fighting France. It's how they're fighting England and Germany and all the other Western countries that have the means and capability to defend themselves. They won't fight a military war. They'll fight a different type of war. And the sooner we figure that out, the better off we'll be. You're listening to the Andrew Gossett Show on 103.9 WYAB. Thank you for the call. We'll be right back. And we are back at the Andrew Gosser Show. And this segment is being sponsored by my man Bruce Bennett over at iGear Optical, located at 2630 Highway 80 in Pearl. Bruce is the man to see if you're looking for a pair of glasses. Local shop that's been here a long time. Let's keep our money inside of Rankin County. Let's keep it inside of Mississippi. And let's support good local businesses. I'll tell you what, the customer service that you will get with Brother Bruce is second to none. And if you're looking for glasses, you should go visit him for sure. You can check him out online at igearoptical.com. He's open from Monday to Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. during the week and 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. Thank you so much, Bruce, for sponsoring the program. We're going to continue rolling down this road. And I know I talk about the judges and the legal warfare that's going on. And yesterday was a good day. And today is one of those days where you go and you look at some of the headlines of these judges and you're like, man, we can't just keep losing in these lower federal courts. And I'm like, yes. But it just goes to prove my point. The lower court ruled that Trump cannot fire Lisa Cook, even though she's being investigated for a bunch of mortgage problems. So she gets to stay on the federal board, and she's going to vote on interest rates while she's being investigated for fraudulent mortgages. But what's really the ticker on all of this, and it's just proven the point that we've made on this show and other shows have made, Trump suffers blow in bid to fire Federal Reserve Governor as judge rules Lisa Cook can stay during fight. But in just the second paragraph, and I got to give credit to the Associated Propaganda, the AP, the Trump administration is expected to appeal the federal court's ruling. Yep. But if you go through and read this article, it'll just build up the political narrative. Trump suffers setback. Trump's losing. And he's really not. The only thing that this is doing is pointing out the inept judges that are on the federal bench. And I'm just saying you need to go look up this judge who is presiding over this case, because you sit there, you look, and you're just like, whoo, I don't want to be in that courtroom. On Tuesday, District Judge Gia Cobb granted Cook's request for a preliminary injunction, preventing her from being removed from the Fed's Board of Governors while the dispute makes its way through the courts. So she might be there for another month, maybe two. But ultimately, what this is going to decide is she part of the executive branch, or is she some part of the pseudo government? Because technically, you're only supposed to be under one of three branches of government. We all know about them: the executive, the Congress, and the judicial. Which one does this fall under? And it's just the judicial branch that is trying to insert itself as the power broker, when there should really only be a food fight between the Congress and the president. But that's what makes our form of government so awesome, which just makes it more baffling why the state of Mississippi doesn't test us on that anymore in high school. We still learn it, but we just don't have to pass a test on it. Make that make sense. I'm not worried about these judges. I truly am not. But these rulings do have consequences. And again, this is from Associated Propaganda. DeSantis' step towards victory on Alligator Alcatraz sets up a funding dilemma for Florida. And this is actually an interesting story. Hear it out. What they're saying is that Florida has the right to do these sites for ICE and for the federal government, and they don't have to get environmental permits as long as they don't spend federal money. As soon as they get reimbursed for setting this up, then they're going to have to get environmental impact studies and all this other stuff. And look, everybody knows the environmental impact on Alcatraz is minimal. They built an 11,000-foot runway in the middle of the Everglades. All those environmental impacts have been done and taken care of. But now DeSantis has to make a decision. Does he take the money? And if he takes the money, does that open up a new window for these environmentalist wackos to go in there and try to shut it down? They are building a second detainment center, which we talked about. But it's almost tiring talking about these judges. And both of these judges were appointed by President Biden back. It appears to be 2021, if I'm reading the information correctly. Last big story here before we hit the break. And it's actually quite funny to read. Cracker Barrel is now canceling not only their logo upgrades, but all of their remodelings too. And before they said they had 70 stores lined up. Now it appears that they've only completed 4 stores. This is a FAFO moment for everybody who has been paying attention to this. It's like we had to relearn the Bud Light all over again, the Bud Light drama all over again. And the sooner we get these fanatical feminists out of leading countries or leading companies into financial ruin, the better off we're going to be. Cracker Barrel cancels plan to remodel more restaurants. The only question is are they going to fire this woman? And rumblings are that they are. She was brought in to oversee the remodeling project. But that's still unsure. What is sure is that the peg game, which called you an ignoramus if you couldn't get to a certain point, those are all gone, and they don't have the ability to make those peg games anymore with the old wording on it. The company went out of business. They sold it off to China, and now China's in charge of it all. That might be a business opportunity for some Gen X or Gen Alpha person to make a company that makes peg games. See if they can do it cheaper than China. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. We're going to take a break a little bit early so we can have a longer last segment. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Yep, we don't fear the Reaper here on the Andrew Gosser Show at 103.9 WYAB. I do have two more stories, but I think I'm only going to talk about one. But something I really want to plug is, as you know, Chris Hinkle fills in for me when I have to have a doctor's appointment or I can't make it. But he's going to have a show on 9/11. And as many of you know, Chris was actually one of the first responders at the Pentagon on 9/11. And he is asking for questions that he can answer about 9/11 on his podcast. You can follow him on X at BF Conservative. And if you've got any questions, go ahead and send him a message there and he will answer them. And the one thing you don't have to worry about Chris Hinkle is he won't dodge the question. And I think the farther we get away from 9/11, the less and less we remember how much it stung. I was talking to my beautiful bride, and we both agreed the farther away we get from Pearl Harbor, the less of an impact it has. The last survivor in the Pearl Harbor attack just passed away last week at 105. So those stories are now just relegated to the history books. Hopefully we've got enough of that recorded to where we don't make that mistake ever again. Mississippi Free Press is really interesting, and I'm tracking something, and I hopefully will have this all ready to go for Friday. But they do have a story here, and I just want to let the Free Press know, give them a little bit of a clue, a Scooby. On the 10th of August, 2025, the Israeli military killed 6 journalists in a single deadliest attack on media workers in nearly 2 years. At the time of the airstrike, the reporters were sheltered outside a hospital, one of the few medical facilities still operating. The target was not only a terrorist, but he was moonlighting, he was spotlighting as a journalist. And he was using his cover as a journalist to go do really bad things. And he got blown up. And I don't agree with targeting journalists. I don't believe in violence like that. It's not good. But you want to know what? If you're going to allow your personal politics to get you involved in journalism, and then you're going to allow certain things to happen, and you're going to be embedding with terrorist cells, you might get blown up. I'm just saying. It does happen from time to time. We do not condone violence against journalists. Never have. We might not agree with them. But at the same time, we absolutely can't be giving them the free run like they've been given. And until these journalists start realizing this, we're going to continue to have stories like this. And they bemoan the attack. They sit there and they talk about how horrible things really are over there. I genuinely believe that a lot of the outrage that has been perpetrated over there in Gaza has been because of the military. And we can talk about war and all of this other stuff, but the bottom line is that until we get all of these terrorists out of there, there's not going to be any peace in Gaza. Until Hamas is gone, we're not going to have any peace. And I'm not okay with going after journalists, but again, when you have journalists embedded or terrorists embedded with journalism, well, you're going to be targeted. Look, continue to encourage one another and build each other up, just as you already are doing. And that's what we're doing here at the Andrew Gosser Show. We'll see you in about 22 hours. Take care, everybody. Be blessed.